So far, we have learned that over 5,000 years of ancient mystery religions have filtered themselves into Illuminized Freemasonry by the mid to late 1700s. We have learned that every major war since the French Revolution has been manipulated through the Hegelian dialectic to provide more control to the Illuminati. We have also learned that Israel was an Illuminati creation. But where are we going from here? What does the Bible say about this? And what should we do about it? The book of Revelation is filled with a lot of imagery, much of which can be confusing to those who haven't studied it thoroughly. This imagery is a necessary tool used by someone nearly 2,000 years ago trying to describe the complexity of events in our time. Fortunately, the book of Revelation explains a lot of its imagery. Revelation chapter 17 describes a system of world government where a woman rides a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Apparently, the world will be divided up at some future point into 10 kingdoms. The truly astonishing part is that this division is happening now. In September 1973, the Club of Rome issued a report entitled Regionalized and Adaptive Model of the Global World System. It proposed dividing the world into 10 kingdoms. Yes, it actually used the phrase 10 kingdoms. While the boundaries of these 10 kingdoms are subject to change, it is their proposal that is the point. Since that proposal in 1973, the world is being divided into 10 kingdoms. It started with the European Union. It is continuing with the African Union. It is now here with the North American Union, or NAU. Our elected political leaders in North America deny the existence of the NAU, calling it a conspiracy theory. They do so while the Queen's representative in my province of Manitoba lays out its infrastructure.
Can you say today that this is not a prelude to a North American Union similar to a European Union? Are there plans to build some kind of superhighway connecting all 3 countries? And do you believe all of these theories about a possible erosion of national identity stem from a lack of transparency from this partnership?
A couple of my opposition leaders have speculated on massive water diversions and superhighways to the continent, maybe interplanetary, I'm not sure as well.
Manitoba is also taking a major role in the development of a mid-continent trade corridor, connecting our northern port of Churchill with trade markets throughout the central U.S. and Mexico.
I'm amused by some of the speculation, some of the old, you call them political scare tactics. If you've been in politics as long as I have, you get used to that kind of technique where you lay out a conspiracy and then force people to try to prove it doesn't exist. That's just the way some people operate.
An alliance has been built with business leaders and state and city governments spanning the entire length of the corridor. When fully developed, the trade route will incorporate an inland port in Winnipeg with pre-clearance for international shipping.
I'm amused by the difference between what actually takes place in the meetings and what some are trying to say takes place. It's quite comical, actually, when you realize the difference between reality and what some people are talking on TV about.
And we cannot be effective at major economic matters any longer unless we work with our other economic partners around the world and work with them closely and intimately. That is essential. I know some people don't like it. It's a loss of national sovereignty, but it is a simple reality.
A lot of people are wondering about the future of America. Many students of Bible prophecy are beginning to reconsider the possible identity of the woman who rides the beast of a one-world government system. Revelation 17:1 talks about the punishment of a great prostitute who sits on many waters. Revelation 17:15 explains the imagery of the waters to mean many peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. In Revelation 17:18, the woman or prostitute is clearly defined as the great city that rules over the kings of the earth. So far, the Whore of Babylon is a dominant multicultural city. New York is a dominant multicultural city. New York is also home to the United Nations, the premier organization of world government. Revelation 18:11-13 lists the many items you can get from this city. They say you can get whatever you want in New York. Look at the last two items in this list, which are slaves or the bodies and souls of men. This verse is amazingly accurate. The United States was allowed to become the world's biggest debtor nation when it became bankrupt in 1933, eventually along with all other nations, because your birth certificate is a bond. You are pledged as collateral on the debt of your nation. You are traded as a human resource on the stock exchanges of the world, especially in New York, the home to the world's largest stock exchange. At the entrance to New York stands the prostitute who sits on many waters, holding a golden cup in her hand. The prostitute has 7 heads, or 7 rays of initiation, radiating from her crown. The prostitute is none other than Queen Semiramis, the ancient queen of Babylon. At the base of the Statue of Liberty is a plaque. It states that the statue is a gift from the Freemasons of France to the Freemasons of America. Revelation 18:15 talks about the merchants of the world who gained their wealth from her, standing amazed at her destruction. Revelation 18:17 describes the woman being consumed by fire in 1 hour. Whether or not the biblical description of Babylon applies to New York today or Iraq tomorrow is a moot point. The point is that because New York fits the Babylonian archetype, or sign of things to come, we should expect that New York should suffer the same fate as Babylon. If my interpretation of Babylon and its destruction is correct, then there ought to be signs of secret societies in America preparing for its destruction. Perhaps the greatest sign of America's pending destruction is on the back of the US $1 bill. You have been told that the bird on the right is an eagle. That's not what Manly P. Hall viewed it as. He knew that it was a phoenix, the ancient mythological bird of fiery rebirth. The phoenix is used to describe how old systems of power are deliberately destroyed to produce new systems of power. The system of power that is being built now is described on the left side on the back of the US $1 bill. You have been told that the Latin phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum means a new order of the ages. If you understood what the Roman poet Virgil meant when he wrote what this phrase is based on, you would know that it means the same thing as Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. For the meaning of that, you will have to wait until volume 3. For now, it means God hath favored our undertakings, new order secular, or new world order. The occult purpose of America is to usher in the new world order on the back of what appears to be a trusted democracy. This purpose is hidden in plain sight. The New World Order is coordinated on a spiritual level by Lucifer, who is Satan disguised as an angel of light. Once you understand that, then everything makes sense. Lenin's associate, Mikhail Bakunin, was under a satanic influence. A satanic theme saturated the poetry of Karl Marx. Perhaps the best quote about the Luciferian agenda comes from Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name given to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning, is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable, blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls? Doubt it not. The devil is very real. His main disguise is well described. This is not just because Bible thumpers say so, but because anti-Christians say so.
I'm a Christian, sir.
I'm pure and virtuous and wholesome and innocent. How can you say anything about me?
Sir, you need to be born again.
I am born again.
Now, did you just say that you are Lucifer?
I am Lucifer.
Okay, define Lucifer for me.
Pure, virtuous, wholesome, innocent individual that's out to help people.
Lucifer is?
Yeah.
Say that again. Lucifer is a pure, holy,
Virtuous.
virtuous. Now, is he the Lucifer that God created?
That's the same one.
Oh, man, this is great. I'm going to put this on the internet.
Oh,
Amen.
God bless you,
Amen.
brother.
Because that's exactly what the Shriners and Masons teach, is that Lucifer is light.
No.
And you're,
Hey, what
you're
about those
confirming
hospitals?
it. You know what, sir? Jesus said, many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, we did not do these good deeds in your name. And you'll say, away from me, you workers of iniquity. I never knew you.
Jesus said it?
In Matthew chapter 5.
Mercy.
No.
That's hard to believe.
So you're a Christian and you don't know that. Actually,
No, I really am.
Many people around the world today are particularly concerned with Israel. The Bible said 2,600 years ago in Ezekiel 37 that before the third and final Great War, Jews from around the world will begin to be gathered back to Israel, even in unbelief. Israel has offered cash and land to Iranian Jews to move to Israel. Iranian Jews have refused this offer, saying that they preferred life in Iran. This is one of the many examples which prove that when governments of the world try to force Bible prophecy, it doesn't work. The Bible promises that there will be several great wars over Israel in the future. You can read about them in Ezekiel 38 and 39 and Revelation 19. God is not in the habit of breaking his promises to Israel. God is also not in the habit of rewriting his promises to Israel or any of his prophecies. Christians understand this. Over 1 billion Muslims do not. Today, Israel is a paradox. America and Christianity are loyal to Israel, but Israel isn't loyal to America and to Christianity. Evidence shows that Israel assisted the United States in the 9/11 attacks on itself so that America would be justified in retribution against Israel's enemies.
And all of a sudden, down there, I see this van parked. And I see 3 guys on top of the van. And I could see that they were like happy. You know, they didn't look shocked to me.
I just happened to see the van and, hollered over to my lieutenant. I think that could be the van. We checked it out and it was. We were all on edge, obviously, so I really wasn't looking to make friends with these people, and neither were the officers that I were with. Once we started talking to them, they were pretty much like, hey, we're not against you, we're with you.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event.
Most directory assistance calls and virtually all call records and billing in the U.S. are done for the phone companies by Amdocs Limited, an Israeli-based private telecommunications company. Amdocs has contracts with the 25 biggest phone companies in America and more worldwide. Since September 11th, more than 60 Israelis have been arrested or detained, either under the new Patriot anti-terrorism law or for immigration violations. A handful of active Israeli military were among those detained, according to investigators, who say some of the detainees also failed polygraph questions when asked about alleged surveillance activities against and in the United States.
Building is going to collapse. Nothing information. Building is going to collapse. Nothing information.
Investigators suspect that the Israelis may have gathered intelligence about the attacks in advance and not shared it. A highly placed investigator said there are, quote, tie-ins, but when asked for details, he flatly refused to describe them, saying, quote, evidence linking these Israelis to 911 is classified. I cannot tell you about evidence that has been gathered. It's classified information.
Some mainline TV preachers are bending over backwards trying to justify Israel's every move to the point where their teachings are anti-biblical.
In defense of Israel will shake Christian theology. It scripturally proves that the Jewish people as a whole did not reject Jesus as Messiah. It will also prove that Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. It will prove that there was a Calvary conspiracy between Rome, the high priest, and Herod to execute Jesus as an insurrectionist too dangerous to live. Since Jesus refused by word and deed to claim to be the Messiah, how can the Jews be blamed for rejecting what was never offered? Read it in this shocking expose in defense of Israel.
The modern recreation of Israel is causing something to happen that the political Zionists did not intend. Just as the Bible said would happen, many Israelis are beginning to realize that Jesus is the Messiah.
היום חיים כבר בינינו כ-15,000 יהודים משיחיים מאמינים בישוע, מתפללים אליו אבל גם מלים את בניהם, מנשקים את המזוזה ומתגייסים לצה"ל במוטיבציה מלאה. שלמה רז פגש בהם וחזר קצת מבולבל.
אבל כל זה לא משכנע כמובן חוגים חרדים שנלחמים בהם מלחמת חורמה.
אנחנו מוסרים ילדים קטנים לנצרות, נותנים להם בגדים יפים ולחם ואוכל, ואחרי זה אומרים להם בואו תשתחוו ליושקר, הרמזר.
זוהי הפגנה שארגנו חסידי גור בערד נגד הקהילה המקומית.
הנה רבקה פנאי באה ממשפחה חרדית, חטפו אותה, עשו ממנה נוצריה. הם חוטפים ילדים ומטפילים אותם לנצרות, תתרחקו מהם.
כשהאמונה יוקדת, אין מה שיעצור את התופעה. בשנים האחרונות יש גידול משמעותי במספר הקהילות של היהודים המשיחיים. מדברים לפחות על 15 קהילות רק בירושלים. אפילו באזור הזה, גבול השכונות החרדיות, פועלות כמה קהילות של יהודים משיחיים. הקהילה הזאת, שמן ששון שמה, פועלת במרכז ירושלים. בניגוד לכל הקהילות האחרות שפנינו עליהן, היא הסכימה להיחשף למצלמות. הקהילה הזאת צמחה בשנתיים מ-60 מאמינים לכ-200. רבים מהמצטרפים החדשים הם צעירים, ילידי הארץ, חלקם מבתים מסורתיים. התפילה היא יסוד מרכזי אצל המשיחיים. כל אחד מתפלל מתי שבא לו ואיך שבא לו. אין נוסח תפילות מחייב. רוצים שנדע שהאמונה היא שקושרת אותם לארץ הזאת, שאין סתירה על פי אמונתם בין הברית החדשה לבין התנ"ך, להפך, שאפשר להתפלל לישו, ישוע בלשונם, ובמקביל לקבל את השבת כמו שמקבלים אותה במיליוני בתים יהודים ברחבי העולם.
There is a massive spiritual point behind the recreation of Israel. Most of the world's power will continue to return westward at an accelerating pace to where it began, the Middle East. The heart of the Middle East is Israel. The heart of Israel is Jerusalem. The heart of Jerusalem is the Jewish temple. The Bible says that Satan is the prince of this world. The Bible also says that Satan's greatest desire is to be worshipped as the God of all religions in the temple of God. We are very close to the rebuilding of that temple. There is no way that a Jewish temple could be rebuilt in the middle of the Muslim world without a Jewish state. There is no way that a Jewish state could have been established in that world without the UN creating it in response to the Holocaust. There is also no way that the Holocaust or Israel could have occurred without political Zionism. Here is a mystery. Evil has no choice but to follow Bible prophecy. This gives all those who follow the Bible hope for the future. It also poses a major problem for atheists and agnostics. People in these camps blame God or people's idea of God for most of the evil in this world. It would never occur to these groups that all this time it was Satan manipulating people and trying to imitate God who was responsible for most of the evil in this world. Ultimately, Satan is God's tool. For all those who think that the Bible was written by secret societies to fool the world into believing that God is in control of it, keep one thing in mind. The New World Order couldn't control all aspects of one major event. Do you really think that secret societies could arrange hundreds of events over thousands of years? The origin of the evil in this world today is not Freemasonry or Frankism, the Illuminati or the Rothschilds, America or Israel, or any other group or movement. The source of the evil in this world today is sin. Sin is doing what is wrong or not doing what is right according to God's rules. The problem with God's rules is not the rules. It's that no one in the physical or spiritual worlds are inclined to follow them. Satan got humanity to break God's rules through lies. People join secret societies because they think they will not die and because they think that special knowledge will make them be like gods, knowing good and evil. These two lies from Satan have not changed in over 6,000 years. We need to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, starting with the preparation of our souls. There are plenty of guidelines on what to do that are prudent and not paranoid. Your elderly parents or grandparents knew what to do. You wouldn't call them paranoid. As you prepare, count your blessings. A final word to Christians. Did you think you could elect Jesus into office? The New World Order owns both sides of the political spectrum. The heart of man is full of evil. It's time to be more socially active and less politically dependent, never forgetting the gospel of Christ.
The Americans round up people from the nearby town and force them to witness the horrors that have been committed in their name. 18-year-old Renata Simon.
I could hardly believe what I was seeing. They had piled up the corpses of people who had died. The smell was just too much. I couldn't take it anymore. But the GI shouted at me, "You Hitler, Fräulein! Here, look, look!"
Both America and Israel were dedicated to God. Did you ever think that Satan wouldn't have a plan for these two countries? It's time for reform instead of rejection or blind religion. Pray for our countries and institutions and work to reform them. We can get a reprieve just as Nineveh did. A final word to those who are still on the fence. The devil owns the fence. The devil's greatest trick is to appear as an angel of light. He attracts you to him and blinds you with confusing issues like astrotheology and Bible inconsistency, even though consistent copies of the Bible are being discovered all the time. It's time to stop the lies. Tell me, have you ever lied? That makes you a liar, doesn't it? Have you ever stolen anything? Even some candy as a kid? That makes you a thief, doesn't it? Out of your own heart, you admit that you're a lying thief. You're no better than any member of any secret society. You deserve the punishment that you demand all the tyrants of history get. Do you want to defeat the New World Order? Do so one soul at a time, starting with your own. It's time to embrace the truth. Admit that you're a sinner and that you can't reconcile your life with God on your own. Believe that Jesus Christ is God's Son who died for your sins. Confess that Jesus is the Lord of your life. Tell somebody. Dedicate yourself to knowing more about God. Start by reading 1 John near the back of the Bible. It's only 4 pages long. Then read the New Testament. As you do, find a Bible-believing church. If you get a chance to ask some ministers who Jesus is and they don't say something like, God's Son who died for you, move on. They are part of the problem. If Lucifer is a Christian myth, then why are so many anti-Christians dedicated to Lucifer? Lucifer isn't concerned with Moses or Muhammad. He is concerned with trying to be what he could never be, the capstone of heaven. Don't be fooled. Choose who you will serve today.